In this video, I'm going to talk about the lung capacities, while the previous video was about the lung volumes. The pulmonary function test assesses the respiratory functions. The respiratory functions are measured by the measurement of the space occupied by the air in the lungs. Lung capacities are the combination of two or more lung volumes. Lung capacities measures the amount of air, that how much air is inhaled and how much air can be exhaled by the lungs and how much space it gives to the air for inhalation and exhalation. So there are different measurements to measure the lung volumes, and that are called lung capacities. These are known as inspiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, vital capacity, and total lung capacity. Let's talk about one by one. Let's talk about the inspiratory capacity. What is inspiratory capacity? Inspiratory capacity is the volume of the air breathed in from normal inspiration to maximum inspiration. It means that inspiratory capacity, as I told earlier, lung capacities are the combination of two or more than two lung volumes. So inspiratory capacity is the combination of two lung volumes, which are normal inspiration to maximum inspiration. As normal inspiration is known as the tidal volume, and the maximum inspiration is the inspiratory reserve volume. The normal respiration is known as the tidal volume. As you can see in the graph, this is the normal respiration. This is the normal inspiration, normal expiration, normal inspiration, and normal exhalation. So this normal respiration or breathing is known as the tidal volume. And when a person inhales to the maximum, this is the normal inspiration, and then forcefully inhale to the maximum capacity, as this graph is raised to the maximum inhalation, so this is known as inspiratory reserve volume. So inspiratory capacity, it would be the combination of tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. This tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume, these two together makes up the inspiratory capacity. So what would be the formula of inspiratory capacity? We add up the tidal volume and the inspiratory reserve volume. This whole, it makes up the inspiratory capacity. As we know about the measurements of these volumes, tidal volume is equal to 500 milliliter, while the inspiratory reserve volume has the value of 3,300 milliliter. Let's put these values in the formula. We get the 3,800 milliliter inspiratory capacity. So the normal value for the inspiratory capacity will be 3,800 milliliter. This is the functional residual capacity. What is functional residual capacity? It is the volume of air that remaining in the lungs after normal expiration. So it means that functional residual capacity, as the name indicates, that after normal expiration, if we see in the graph as shown here, this is the normal inspiration, normal exhalation, normal inhalation, normal exhalation. So this tidal volume is the normal breathing, and when the person, this is the normal exhalation, and when the person exhales after normal expiration, so this is the normal expiration, and after normal expiration, a forceful expiration to the maximum level is the expiratory reserve volume. So this is the maximum expired air, and then again this is the inspiration. So the residual volume is the amount of air that is always present in the lungs even after the forceful expiration. Not all of the air is removed from the lungs, because some of the amount of the air is always present in the lungs that prevent it from collapsing. If the lungs is emptied from all of the air, it may cause the collapse of the lungs. So residual volume is always present in the lungs that prevents it from collapsing. So the functional residual capacity is the combination of expired reserve volume together with the residual volume, because it is the remaining air in the lung after the normal expiration. So after the normal expiration, this is the amount of the air that is left in the lungs. As expiratory reserve volume and residual volume we already discussed in the lung volumes. You can also watch about the lung volumes. So what would be the functional residual capacity? It will be equals to the respiratory reserve volume together with the residual volume. We already know about the values of expiratory reserve volume and residual volume. Expiratory reserve volume is 1000 ml and residual volume is normal value is 1200 ml. Let's add up both of them together. It will make up the 2200 ml. So the normal value for the functional residual capacity is 2200 ml. Other capacity is the vital capacity. What is vital capacity? Vital capacity is the maximum volume of air that can be exhaled forcefully after deep inspiration. So it means that it involves the deep inspiration means the maximum inhalation, and the exhale forcefully means the maximum exhalation. If we see in the graph, the tidal volume is the normal breathing. This is the normal inhalation, normal exhalation. This is the normal inhalation, and then if the person inhales out to the maximum level with forceful inhalation, this is the maximum inhalation the person can inhale air. So this is known as inspiratory reserve volume. Then again, this and between this point, this is the normal exhalation, and when the person exhales out forcefully to the maximum level, then this graph you can see here, this is the maximum exhalation below the normal exhalation, normal expiration. So this exhalation is known as the respiratory reserve volume. So vital capacity is the combination of three volumes: tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, and expiratory reserve volume. Inspiratory from the deep inspiration to the exhaled out forcefully. Let's calculate the measurement for vital capacity by putting the values of these lung volumes. Vital capacity would be equal to inspiratory reserve volume at the maximum inhalation, tidal volume, and expiratory reserve volume. As we already know about the values for the lung volumes, expiratory reserve volume is 1000 ml, tidal volume is 500 milliliter, inspiratory reserve volume is 3300 milliliter. Let's put these values into this formula for the vital capacity. We will get the vital capacity equals to 4800 milliliter. So it means that the normal value for the vital capacity. Then at the last, what is the total lung capacity? Total lung capacity is the volume of air in lungs after deep inspiration. It includes all the volumes. It means that if we see at the graph, after deep inspiration, as this is the normal inhalation, and after a forceful inhalation, this is the inspiratory reserve volume. So this is the deep inspiration. So after the deep inspiration, the remaining, all these are known as the total lung capacity. So in the total lung capacity, the deep inspiration and all these volumes comes in the total lung capacity. So total lung capacity is the combination of all the volumes that are measured for the lungs. Let's calculate the values for the total lung capacity by putting the values or measurements of these volumes. Total lung capacity will be equal to inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, expiratory reserve volume, and the residual volume. As we know about the normal values of these volumes, expiratory reserve volume is 1000 ml, tidal volume is 500 ml, inspiratory reserve volume is 3300 ml, and residual volume is 1200 milliliter. Let's put these values into this formula. We will get the total lung capacity would be equal to 6000 milliliter. So the normal value for the total lung capacity is 6000 milliliter. As total lung capacity is the combination of all of these. As this video was about lung capacities and the previous one was about lung volumes. So lung volumes and lung capacities, these are used to measure the functions of the respiratory system. There are different methods for the measurement of lung volumes and lung capacities. So that's why these all methods basically measures or give values in the form of lung volumes and capacity. They measures the airs for measuring the lung volumes and lung capacities. So that's how it was necessary to understand the measurements and calculations for the lung volumes and lung capacities. What are these different measurements or different methods to measure the lung volumes and capacities? These methods are the spirometer. Spirometer is used to assess the functions of the respiratory system by measuring the air volumes and the lung capacities. The advanced form of the spirometer is the respirometer, and there are some other methods that specifically assess the residual function and the residual capacity, because the spirometer and respirometer does not measure the functional residual capacity and the residual volume for the respiratory functions. So these methods are plethysmograph, helium dilution technique, and nitrogen washout method. So these three methods, plethysmography, helium dilution technique, and nitrogen washout method, these also measures the residual volume and the functional residual capacity of the lungs. Thank you for watching and keep watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and share.